Greetings, African people, wherever you guys are. I hope you're fine. Hope everything is working out and everything will work out for you. Today I want us to talk about white people living in Africa, because I read, I listen to Africans, I listen to politicians, sometimes it's religious leaders. They talk about all these things, white people this, white people that, and it's also like, it's very interesting because one of my friends that I've known for many years, I was having a conversation with him, and he said to me something very interesting, because he was like, oh, you're expressing some anti-white sentiments. It's like you're against these people, and I was like, why are you saying that? Just because I talk about African spirituality and Christianity and the history of Christianity and what Christianity has done to Africans, that doesn't mean that I hate white people. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that I'm saying anything against them, especially the white people today. I would say I'll point a finger at the history of colonization in Africa, of the missionaries in Africa, of the exploration in Africa. I'll point a finger at those people, but I'll never generalize. I'll never say that all white people do this and all white people are like this, because not all black people are like whatever you want to think of. And I've had these conversations with my white friends, and I've told them, don't think that all black people are good people. No. Who thinks you just need to look at the papers? You just need to look at the crimes. So we're not talking about this generalization that, oh, this group of people are like this. But when it comes to history, you have to be factual, right? We have to bring the receipts. We have to say, yeah, this is what this race did. For example, the Germans. The Germans, we know about the Holocaust. We know what they did. They killed over 6 million Jews. They gassed them. That's history. That's factual. It's there. The camps are there to be seen. People go there and see. When we talk about the British brutalizing Africans, Ugandans, Nigerians, South Africans, different European countries, and coming to Africa and doing different things in Zaire. We talk about the Belgians and all that, all what they did. It's historical. We are not saying that because if I quote what the Germans did, it doesn't mean that I hate the Germans. No, I'm saying, I'm quoting history. The Germans killed Jews. It's there. They wanted to get rid of all Jews. It's not, do I hate Germans? No. It's history. Now, when I talk about African spirituality, it's not hate speech or whatever. It'll never be hate speech. It's about understanding yourself. But it's concerning. My concern as a practitioner of African spirituality is this: whenever I hear politicians, religious people, and could be YouTubers or guys on their own thing, social media, talking about, oh, white people need to leave Africa, and I'm like, this is a very big problem, right? That's a very heavy statement to make, and I do not support it. I will never support it, and I'll never say that. Why? We have to be realistic, right? The white people who are in Africa are, I would say, factually, that Africa is their home. Yes, their grandparents or their great-grandparents might have involved themselves in criminal activities, in killing people, in torturing Africans, in committing crimes against humanity towards Africans. Yes, that's factual. But in reality, it is not them that did these crimes. And also, we need to understand that you're telling citizens that they need to leave. Where do you think they'll go? Where do you think they'll go? Oh, their color is... No, forget about color. We're talking about laws here. They are citizens. Your constitutions from whichever countries you come from states that if you're born or you live here for a certain period of time, then you become a citizen. They are citizens. Okay, say their grandfather or their great-grandfather stole the land, the hectares and hectares of land that they occupy. Is killing them or attacking them, is it going to solve that? No, it's not going to solve that. But there's a way to do it. See, in African spirituality, the issue of elders was very, very important. Elders would be called upon if there were issues. Yeah, if there were conflicts. Elders, particular elders, will be called and will called upon to sit down and to deliberate upon these issues. They understood that things are sometimes extremely complex, because politicians would want the young people, the young men, to say, oh yeah, they stole your land, so you need to go there and kick them out. So these young boys, young men, they haven't matured. They don't understand how life is. So they're emotional. They go like, yeah, you guys stole our land, you did this. But the people that you're attacking are not the ones who stole that land. They found themselves there. So what do? Men and women need to sit down and talk about it from both sides. They need to sit down. Right? They need to sit down and encourage nations that are facing this to have a commission of experienced... Don't bring young boys and young girls there. No, experienced men and women. First of all, who understand this one thing. Because that's the starting point. That's the reference point. We're starting from this place. White people are not going anywhere. They're not leaving Africa. That's how you start it. So if anyone who has any other way of thinking, you just let them go. You're like, sorry, this is not your place. So we are looking at it from this perspective. These are our brothers and our sisters. Do we have issues? Yes, we do have issues, because this family is saying that this was their land, and your grandfather or your great-grandfather took this land from them and killed them or falsely imprisoned them and all that kind of stuff. This thing used to happen. That's factual. Okay, so how do we deal with it? How do we compensate these families? How do we deal with that whole situation? Because it cannot be dealt with on TV. It cannot be dealt with by a politician holding a mic in some public meeting and saying this, they need to do this. No, it's not going to work. So the issue of white people leaving Africa, that's a no-no, right? We have far too many things in common. They are our brothers and our sisters, and they should be protected all costs. And African governments should protect and ensure that no white person, especially the ones who have families in Africa and they've lived in Africa for many, many years, they are citizens, that they feel as if now they are no longer looked at as Africans. Because the world is a globe, is a village, right? So, do you know what the other interesting part is? Because I'm a thinker, I'm a rational thinker, and I'm rational, and I tend to listen to people and ask them questions and question what they're saying, because you gotta question a lot of things. Now, and that's why I'm saying African spirituality is not it doesn't mean that you're ignorant. No. I've said this and I keep saying that in African spirituality, science was really, really observed. Patterns, repetitions, right? Really, really observed. Our ancestors knew that things worked in this way, and they've always worked in that particular way. And that is what kept them going, right? They have that in empirical ways. They understood that these ways or these patterns, they keep repeating themselves. This is what it means. So I do ask people this question, Africans who keep talking about this and this white these people and white this and they need to leave these farms, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna. That's not the way forward. It'll never be the way forward. That's thinking backward. That's going back. That's going backwards. I asked them this question. Okay, so you're saying that they should leave? Oh yeah, they should leave. White people, they should leave this Africa. Africa is for black people. Africa is for Africans. We don't need this. I'm like, okay, so are you saying that all black people who are in Europe, who are in America, who are in the UK, who are in Australia, you're saying they should leave? So they are leaving Africa, our land, so we have to leave their land as well. Is that what you're saying? By the way, can I tell you something else? These white people, they're the ones who have, all the politicians who are fighting, in African countries and other Africans wanted to kill them and their families. Guess who gives them asylums and who was always giving them asylums? Political asylums. Who? Not other African nations. They have, but mostly they're given asylums by the same whites. Okay, the other thing is, when they fall sick, these politicians, when they fall sick and people and the general population, where do they go for further treatment or specialized treatment? They usually go to Western nations. True or false? So you're saying that should not happen. So you're saying that all the children, all the students who leave Africa going to further studies overseas, they shouldn't. And you're saying everyone who's a citizen, an African who's a citizen of this European, American, and the UK and other white nations, they should leave. They should just pack up and leave. And go like, they're... Oh, and African Americans as well. They should leave. Should leave America. Do you see how ridiculous this kind of thinking is? And that's why when we talk about African spirituality, what we're saying is that you need to use your brain. You need to think for yourself. Look at what happened in Zimbabwe. The whites have left farmers. They think about it. Men and women who farmed for years and years. They have a huge the experience is amazing. The skills they have is amazing. Then one day they're told, you gotta leave. They're like, what are you talking about? We leave. We're Zimbabweans. What are you talking about? We are citizens. oh, you gotta live because of your skin color. And if you don't, we're gonna burn everything up, we're gonna kill you, we're gonna do this. Now, what happened with the food, with the food supply in that country? How many people died? Africans. Because you don't do those kind of things. There's a better way would have been to sit down and talk about it. Have a commission. This thing happened. We have these skills. We have this knowledge. You do not do that, not because they have the knowledge, but because they're citizens. This is what I tell people. You need to get that straight. Citizens. Don't look at the color of the skin. Don't look at their great-grandfather. No. And guess what? We've been African issues, right? And anyone who tells you this, they'll be lying to you. That Africans have always fought alone to achieve whatever progress that we've achieved, maybe economically or politically, or when you talk about issues to do with freedom. White people have always been involved. The struggle for the civil rights movements in America, there are a lot of white people who are involved. There are a lot of white people, white Americans who saved blacks. There are several of them who died with blacks. There were several of white people who are made outcast by their white families because they stood with blacks. It's history. So when someone talks about that the white people need to leave Africa, you should tell them that they do not know what they're talking about. They just do not have an idea, and it should be criminal. It should be a criminal act when someone says that a citizen should leave to go where? Where? When a father tells his son or his daughter that you need to leave this compound, you need to leave my homestead, it is the right of that child to ask the father, Dad, where do you want me to go? Where should I go? Right? Where should I go? It is the right. And so they should ask. If they say this, you should, as a white person in Africa, whichever country, and you're a citizen, you should say, well, why, okay, you want me to live where? No, you pay me to live. Pay for my holiday, right? What do you mean I live? This is my land. This is my home. Where am I going? Where am I going? But as I'm saying, politicians and religious leaders, they make this, they sensationalize this issue, and they want to make it like, they want to point it and say and address it like as a simple thing. It's not simple. It's complex. It's a very complex issue, and it needs experienced men and women to handle it. Because, the problem is people need to think. I've watched clips on YouTube of people who are against westernization, in terms of, and I'm very, very particular, right? I know this as an African. I have my own spirituality and I have my own culture. Now, that does not mean that I cannot take the positives from any other culture, because cultures traditionally or historically, they've always benefited from each other. They've always benefited from each other. And you must take that science. You take the good bits that work for you, and the bits that don't work for you, you leave them. A gun is very good to protect yourself. It's a very good weapon to protect yourself. Was it a good invention? 100% very good invention. But there are people who use it to commit crimes. So you need to look at the aspects of how what you get in whatever culture. So things have to work for your benefit. You have to make things work for your benefit. Now, I've watched people talking about where they don't want anything to do with white people. Anything. These Africans, we don't want to do anything. I'm thinking, wow, you're on YouTube. Okay, who started YouTube? You're using Google. Who started it? Social media. Who started it? You're using a phone. Who made it? Where was it made? The vehicle that you're driving, I saw with some weapons, right? Who made those weapons? The bullets that you're using, who made them? Not you. Not guys from your religion. No. It was done by those foreigners that you're saying you want nothing to do with. Don't you think you're just a little bit disingenuous when you're talking about that? Don't you think that? Just a little bit. You're a little bit. You're hypocritical. Right? Your one foot is on this side and the other foot is on this side, but your mouth is saying something that is completely off. But that's what happens. But when you understand, in African spirituality, when you understand who you are, and that's why if you've listened to one of my recordings, I've spoken about the reason why our ancestors allowed white missionaries is because of the way they looked at foreigners, not as intruders, but other human beings who are to be welcomed. They understood that any invention, any positive thing that someone has, it's a wonderful thing, and you should embrace it. But when you generalize and you start talking about things that don't make sense, and that will never make sense, then we have issues. So I'm a practitioner of African spirituality, but it doesn't mean that I've lost my mind. I've taken and I'll continue taking the wonderful things in Westernization and the things that are in conflict with my culture, with the do's and don'ts. Then I'll be like, oh, that is not my thing, but it's theirs. And that's why I talk about even in Christianity. I do not know how or why they founded Christianity. It's their thing. It's their own thing. They do what they do. It's them. You as an African, you should know your thing as well, your spirituality. But this is for my white brothers and sisters in Africa. We do not hate you, and will never hate you. And we want you to enjoy life. You are brothers and sisters, and Africa is your continent. Africa is your motherland. Is that to say that we don't have a very dark history? We do. But that's history. Today, it's a new day. And it's a new day for you to feel that Africa is your home. And for you to know that you have supporters. I've not even mentioned about the guys who say that white people should leave Africa, and on the other side, welcoming the Chinese. That's a different story. But anyway, like, share, and subscribe. Wish you all the best, guys. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.